Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I'm your yarn host Jennifer and today we're making these. What is this? It's a boob. This is the official tutorial for the official crochet pattern from Knitted Knockers. What is Knitted Knockers? Knitted Knockers is a company that makes boob replacements for people who've had mastectomies, who have suffered from cancer, or women who have had full-on their boobs removed because of cancer. I decided to do this for a lot of personal reasons. For one, I had my very first mammogram this month. I'm trying to raise awareness for mammograms and for breast cancer in the month of October because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I just made one for the tutorial. This is an A cup because, you know, time restraints. I am going to make more. I have more yarn left over that we are going to make some more out of. I actually have a couple different yarns I'm going to use. This one for the tutorial was the Coboo because it's what I had. There are a list. I will link everything below. There's a list of 30 approved yarns for Knitted Knockers. You can make, they have a knit version and a crochet version. You can make either or. This is the crochet version in the tutorial. I give you directions on how to leave it open, but how to stuff it because that's what they want. They want it left open and they want it stuffed at max capacity. So, and we can understand that, right? This is a quick little tutorial. I pretty much made the entire thing on camera, so the length of this tutorial is how long it took me to make the first one I've ever made without any practice, and reading along with the tutorial along with you guys, so you guys can download the patterns onto your phones or your computers, and you can follow along with the pattern while we're making this together on the crochet tutorial. They are very specific with the types of yarn that they want to use for these, so please use one of those recommended yarns. I will put a link in the description box below this video to the pattern that we followed and also to the list of yarns that they have listed as these are the recommended yarns to use. They don't like, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, they don't like I love this yarn or I love this cotton from Hobby Lobby. That's a no-go. They're very specific with the types of yarns that they want to use. Premier Yarns has actually said that afternoon cotton was approved, even though it's not on their list. Premier Yarns said that this one was approved for their crocheted knitted knockers. And also the Bamboo Fair, and on their website it says the Cotton Fair. So the Bamboo Fair and the afternoon cotton, if you use the it's not a password. If you use the coupon code Knitted Knockers, you can save, I think it's 15% off of the afternoon cotton and the Bamboo Fair. And Premier Yarns will also donate 10% of the proceeds back to Knitted Knockers. So if you don't have the yarn, those two yarns are told to me from Premier Yarns that those have been approved as yarns that you could buy, and they offered a coupon, and they're making a donation on behalf of breast cancer awareness to Knitted Knockers. So with that, what you need for the tutorial is about 70 grams of yarn, if that. I didn't use very much at all. I barely used any. 4.5 millimeter hook. I think with the afternoon cotton, I would probably use even a smaller hook because that is a little bit holy to me using 4.5. You need a stitch, that's not stitch mark. You need 3 stitch markers, 2 different colors, okay? I used a red one to mark, that's the beginning of the row, and I used 2 purple for the other sides because you're going to increase. We're working in a complete circle, and you're going to increase at 3 points to make it kind of triangular. It's very easy. It's not a hard pattern at all. Once I got the hang of it, I know that I could breeze through this and not even look at the pattern anymore, and I've only made one. Stitch markers, you need a darning needle for the end, and I have a tape measure because I wanted to make sure that this was appropriate for size A cup because I wasn't sure. And I don't know why I measure with my hand. Like if I don't know. Does that feel right? Is that about an A cup? Let's go down to the table and make a knitted knocker or a crochet knocker. Alright, so to get started for this crocheted knocker, I have my 4.5mm hook. I am using the crocheted pattern. I have it on my phone. I am using the pattern off of their website, and I am using Coboo for this tutorial. There are 30 other yarns, or 29 other yarns that they say that you can use. I don't have a lot of them. I do have a few, but I decided to work with the Coboo after doing a sample with another yarn that I didn't really care for. So, and it says right here, it's approved for knitted knockers. Soft, comfortable knit prosthetics for breast cancer survivors. And I am going to put this, I'm taking the label off because I'm going to outer pull it. And I'm going to put it back here on my yarn holder thingy. Thingamajigger. Alright. Just to make my life easier. Alright, now what you need is a 4.5mm hook, which I have. I have 3 stitch markers. Boom. I'm going to lower you guys a little bit. The pattern that we are going off of, I actually had to watch a tutorial because the way it's written is a little bit weird. So I had to watch a tutorial to learn how to make a tutorial on this, and even the tutorial on their website is not real great. So hopefully this helps anybody that wants to make a knitted knocker that is a little bit confused by the pattern and or the tutorial. Now, to make a magic ring, everybody has their own way to make a magic ring. I literally just do it the way I do a slip stitch. A magic ring is basically a slip stitch. I'm going to tell you, that's a little secret not a lot of people know. So you take your yarn and you put the short tail on the bottom and you make like an X here. This should look like an awareness ribbon with a short tail on the bottom. You go from top to bottom, pull up a loop, okay? You chain 1. That's all there is to a magic loop. It's really that simple. Now, going over the tail and the ring, you're going to make 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the key to this is you kind of want to crochet it the way you would an amigurumi. You kind of want the stitches to be tight and close together because you don't want the poly fiber fill to, you know, show or come out of the little holes. So, alright, now I just closed it off, and in that very first stitch we made, we're going to put 2 single crochets. Don't slip stitch to join, just 2 double crochets in that first stitch. We're working in the round, okay? 1, and this yarn is ridiculously splitty because it has bamboo in it, but we're going to just do it, okay? Like I said, there are other options for yarn that do not have bamboo in them. Bamboo, I think, is the best for the knitted knockers because it's soft and it's breathable, and it a lot of times when a woman has a mastectomy, she has scar tissue and she has, I mean, that skin just is really sensitive. And so I think a soft, silky bamboo is a beautiful yarn for that. But it's really splitty, especially when you're working it tight like this. So we just want 2 single crochets in every stitch around. So we made 6 single crochet in the first row. We should have 12 single crochet in this row. And I'm not counting because I'm talking to you, so hopefully I did this right. But I'm also taking these crocheted knockers like I do everything else. If I make a mistake, I'm just going to fudge our way through it, because it's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things unless you are severely off, which you shouldn't be. Alright. That should be 12. And then at the very first stitch there, we're going to put a single crochet in that stitch, and a single crochet in the next stitch. Oops, splitty. And then in the next 2 stitches, we're going to put an increase. So we're going to do 2 single crochet in this stitch. 1, 2, and then 2 crochet in the next stitch. 1, 2. That's our increase. Now with my stitch markers, I have 2 different color stitch markers. I have 2 purple and a red. Doesn't matter what colors you use. I'm using the red so that we know that this is the very first increase, and I'm putting it in the stitch marker. I'm putting it in the stitch right now, so not the stitch we just made, but the stitch before that. Okay, because that's the way they did it in the tutorial. And then we're going to do a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then we're going to do an increase, so we're going to do 2 single crochets in the next 2 stitches. So 2 single crochets there, 2 single crochets here, and not in the last stitch, but the stitch before that, we're going to put our stitch marker. And I'm just leaving them open because we got to keep moving them. If you have them fall out easily, close them. Okay. The next 2 stitches, we'll put a single crochet, and then in the next 2 stitches, we're going to do an increase. So 2 double, or 2. Why do I keep saying double? 2 single crochet in this stitch, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and then place our last marker in not the last one, but the one just before that. All right. Open phone. Round 2. Work 2 single crochet increase in the next 2 single crochet place marker. We did that. Oh, we're on round 4. Duh. We should have 18 stitches by the end of the 3rd row, which we just made. Okay, I'm not counting though. Work 4 single crochet. So after we placed our marker, the next 4 stitches is 1, 2 is a single crochet in each of those. 2, 3, and 4, and look at that, we reached the stitch marker. Take the stitch marker out so we can work in that stitch, and then we are going to put 2 single crochet in that stitch. Oops. And then 2 single crochet in the next stitch, and you see that purple stitch marker just fell out. You jerk. Put our stitch marker in the stitch before the last one we just made. Close it because they're falling out apparently. And then we do 4 single crochet across the neck. Okay, so 1 in each for the next 4 stitches. 2, 3, and 4. And I'm guessing that's where the purple one was. So we're going to put 2 double crochet, or 2 single crochet in this stitch, 2 single crochet in the next stitch, put our stitch marker. These knitted knockers, crochet knockers, are triangular in shape, which is why we're doing 3 points of increase. Okay. And we're going to do 4 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. See, and we let up right to that stitch marker. Pop it out. 2 single crochet in this stitch. That's our increase. 2 single crochet in the next. Still an increase. Pop our stitch marker in the stitch just before the last one we made. Close it off because it wanted to fall out. Alright. Now, let's see what's next. It says we should have 24 stitches at the end of that. Alright, round 5. It says work 7 single crochets. 1, 2, I'm gonna have to go get my glasses. 3, 4, 5, 6, and the 7th stitch is the stitch marker stitch. Alright, now what do we do? Increase in the next stitch. So we're just going to put 2 double crochet where the stitch marker was here. Mark the stitch before the last one we just made. So in the first of the increase, the first of the two single crochet together, I just am marking that one. And then the rows previous, when there was 2 here and 2 here, I was just marking this stitch here. Okay. Then we gotta do 7 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Alright, and then stitch markers right there. Pop it out. Does anybody else hate messing with stitch markers? Just me. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. Stop splitting the yarn so much. Oopsie. I do have extra hooks on standby here because if this gets too splitty, we're going to be switching hooks because I cannot stand that splittiness, and some hooks and yarns just don't go together. But I wanted to use my pink one because, you know, breast cancer awareness. And then 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is the stitch marker. We're going to work this knocker all the way through together because it shouldn't take us that long. So we're putting our increase, which is 2 single crochets. I'm actually going to start school late today so we can get this tutorial up because life is insane lately. Alright, now we're on round 6. Work to 1 single crochet before the stitch marker. Now, what that means, because I know that's confusing, just put single crochets until you're 1 stitch before the stitch marker, okay? Single crochet, single crochet. I don't know why they changed the way they wrote the pattern. Instead, put X amount of single crochets. But just single crochet till you're 1 before the stitch marker. I don't know why. That's what they say. And then increase in the next 2 stitches. So 2 single crochet in this stitch, and then 2 single crochet in the stitch with the stitch marker, which I have to remove, and I don't like removing it. 1, 2, and once you get the hang of this, these will fly off your hook. Alright, put your stitch marker back in there. Continue on, just single crochet till you get to the first stitch before the stitch marker. Now this is going to be a repeat row, which may be why they changed the format of the way they wrote it, because you're going to repeat row 6 and row 7 until you got the booby that you want. So we're the first stitch before the stitch marker, we're putting 2 single crochet. Open that up. 2 single crochet in where the stitch marker actually was. 1, 2, and again, I'm just still putting the stitch marker in when you have the 2 and the 2. I'm putting in kind of like where the 3rd stitch is. Okay. Wish I had some of Jujus stitch markers. My daughter has the best stitch markers. They're like these ones. They just open real easy and you don't have to fuss with them. But I don't know what I did with my stitch marker jar, so I don't know where they're at. And we're just gonna single crochet until we get to that last stitch marker. And in the stitch before the stitch marker, we're going to put our increase of 2 single crochet and then 2 in the stitch marker stitch. 1, 2. Now put your stitch marker back. The website is very particular about, they want specific colors like skin tone colors or light colors, and they want specific sizes. I'm doing blue because that's what I have. This is lichen, whatever. But for me, I think if I was going to have these little knitted knockers, for me personally, I would do like neons. I would do crazy colors. I wouldn't care if you could see them through my shirt. That wouldn't bother me. That's personal preference. I also am bigger than the sizes. Like, my boobs are bigger than all of the sizes they have for this, so I would actually have to make it bigger if I was to go by my normal boob size, but this pattern only goes up to double D, and I am definitely bigger than a double D. Alright, so round 7, work to the marked stitch marker and increase mark. Okay, so row 6, you're doing 2 increases. Row 7, you're doing 1 increase where the stitch marker is. So we just did row 6. So now all you gotta do is for row 7, instead of doing 2 increases, we're just gonna crochet until we reach the stitch marker. Crochet, 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 crochet. See, these are not real difficult to make, and I know that once I get this first one made, I just stab my finger with that open stitch marker. Once I get this first one done, I know the rest are just gonna, like, I'm gonna plow through them. I already know this. We're at the stitch marker one. Put our increase of just 2 single crochet in that stitch. Replace the stitch marker just like we have these whole time in the stitch before the last stitch. It's already starting to look like a cup. It's kind of looking like a pasty, if you will. Weird about pasty size. There's one person in particular, her name is Amy, who I am really thinking of when I'm doing these. I have not heard from or talked to Amy in a very, very long time. But the last time I talked to Amy, she was struggling with breast cancer and she was fighting it. And Amy is, or was, like I said, I haven't seen or heard from her in a long time. She may have unsubscribed, she may have just left YouTube, I don't know. She was struggling with breast cancer, and she's been heavy on my mind lately, like real heavy on my mind. And so I am doing these to honor Amy. So I would really love for you to put in the comments if you or someone you know has or is struggling with breast cancer and who you're doing this either in memory of or to honor. I would love to hear that. If you're making them for yourself, that's cool too. Stitch marker gotta come out. We gotta put our increase. And if you have a hard time remembering what row you're on, get a little piece of paper next to you, because I'm probably gonna have to do that right now. And write down that you're on row 7. I'm going to use my Coboo label that is right here. I just finished row 7. When I finish row 8, I'm just going to write an 8. And we know that row 8, now that we just finished row 7, we're going to have to repeat row 6 again. And the pattern says as follows. For an 8, let's try that again where the battery doesn't die in the middle of my sentence. It says for A cup, repeat rounds 6 and 7 3 times. So we just finished row 7. So if we repeat row 6 and 7 3 times, it will be 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So for an A cup is 11 rows for an A cup. You will have 63 stitches, and when it's stuffed, it will be 4.5 inches across. This is all in the written pattern. Go download it just so you have the notes. Let's see. A B cup, you repeat the pattern. You repeat rows 6 and 7 4 times. So you would have 13 rows for a B cup. I don't know why it doesn't say this. C cup would be 15 rows for a C cup. D would be 17 rows for a D cup. And then 19 rows for a double D. So if we're following true and you want to make it even bigger, like if you're someone who has naturally way bigger boobs than that. So a triple D, if we're following this theory, would be 21 rows if you wanted to make them. And these are not for, like, if you want to make them as a joke for somebody who, like, you just want them to have big boobs because they had a mastectomy and you just think that they would enjoy that and it's funny. You can make them as big as you want. Just add 2 rows to every size and you can make them as big as you want, you know. So me personally would find that funny, and I would love to have big giant boobs handed to me. Like, that would be hilarious, but some people are real sensitive about that and they would hate that. So, like, only do it if you know for certain that person will find it funny. Right now I'm repeating the 6th row. So this is going to be row 8. So we're just going to, once again, we're going to crochet. I'm going to scroll back up. This is the row where we do 2 increases. So you single crochet up the side. I don't actually know what an A cup is supposed to look like because I myself have never worn an A cup. Not even when I was a little tiny girl. So we're going to go until we're 1 stitch before the stitch marker. And put our increase of 2 single crochets. And then in the next stitch, where the stitch marker actually is, put 2 single crochets. You're going to want to check your measurements when you're done to make sure that this actually is like the size of an A cup. Although I don't think I don't think they're going to measure them. I really don't. I don't know how strict Knitted Knockers is. I've never worked with them. They don't know I'm making this video. But just, I mean, you don't want to make it too small. I think that's the thing, is you just don't want it to be too small. They are very particular on their website. So I'm crocheting till 1 before the stitch marker. Remember, we're on row 6 repeat. Put 2 single crochets in the stitch before the stitch marker and 2 in the stitch marker stitch. And I understand why they're so particular about the yarn, because women are particular. Like, and when you're going through something that is that traumatic to your body, I mean, they want neutral colors. They want this really, really soft yarn. I understand all of that. I absolutely do. But they have rules for stuffing, which I also understand that too. So when we get to that part, I will show you. You're going to actually leave the back kind of open so that they can adjust the stuff in it, in case they want a softer boob, or in case they, you know, there's lots of reasons why you would adjust the stuffing. Because sometimes, and I don't know if you know this, when you have a mastectomy, sometimes the wall of your chest, and then you got your boob here, when they take the boob off, sometimes this concaves depending on how much material they had to remove in the procedure, because sometimes they have to take off extra because the cancer has just spread that far. And because of that, you would adjust the stuffing so that it like kind of fills in the concave area a little bit, so it sits in there with, you know, it doesn't move around. Me personally, like I said though, if I had to wear these, I would want all the colors just to cheer myself up. I mean, I obviously would want some neutral ones, so if I was going to like someplace fancy and I had a dress on that, you know, I didn't want to show like neon colored boobs or something, that would be a different story. Oh, we just finished row 8. Stop talking, Jen. Which is a repeat of 6. So now we're going to move on to row 9, which is a repeat of 7. And row 7 is we just single crochet till we reach the stitch marker. And put an increase in that stitch, just one increase for row 7. We'll do that all the way around. You just crochet till you hit the stitch marker and you put your increase. The reason I decided to do this tutorial, if you're following along, is I had a mammogram at the beginning of the month, and it was my first ever mammogram, and it was scary. And I'm about to lose my stitch marker. It's trying to fall out. And I thought about all the women who go in there and who get bad news, and it's scary. Like, the whole thing is scary. And it can be painful. And I just wanted to bring awareness that even though it's scary, we can still go get our proper exams. And I'm really doing this for all the women who got the bad news of you have cancer. Because I talked to some really great women in there while I was doing my mammogram. And I just couldn't imagine any one of those getting the diagnosis, because they're all in there feeling the same thing I'm feeling. You're cold because you don't have a top on. They got this stupid red wrap thing that you wear. We're all nervous. Like, boobs become a very important part of your identity as a woman. Like, it's just an important part of our identity, whether you want to admit it or not. Some days I hate my boobs. Like, I would like to take them off and have a break from them. I can't imagine losing them like that. So we're doing this for everyone who has ever had that happen. I'm going to honor them. And I know every time I mention boobs, I lose a couple subscribers. And that's alright. They can come back when the boob tutorials are over. We're going to still keep on talking about them because it's important. Alright, we finished, what was that? That was row 9, which was a repeat of 7. So now for this one, for row 10, we are back to doing the double increase. Okay. So we're going to, I can't tell which thing I marked. It'll be fine. Doesn't matter as long as it has the basic shape right. Alright, then we're going to put a double increase. So we're going to put 2 stitch markers in the stitch before the stitch marker, and then 2 in the stitch of the stitch marker. And we'll replace our stitch marker. Boop it in there. Boop. Bentley is in the background of this video. He is just laying in his bed being the goodest little boy ever. I've decided, because we're late for today's tutorial, to not wake up little man. So if you hear a loud screaming noise, he tends to yell when he first wakes up. We're going to pause the video, get him a break, get him fed and medicated, and go about our day. Because I cannot, the first hour he's awake before his medicine kicks in, he's very, very loud. And I kind of hear him wrestling around upstairs. So don't forget, the stitch before the stitch marker in this round gets an increase, and the stitch of the stitch marker gets an increase. So it's 2 single crochet, 2 single crochet in the next one. replace your stitch marker. I'm gonna see if I can find reading glasses that are over here. Yep, I found them. Let's see if that helps at all. I thought that was a string. I was like, why is there a purple string there? Not a purple string there. Tells you how bad my vision is today. Single crochet till we reach the almost to the stitch marker and put our increase again. These work out pretty fast. You could probably whip out a couple of these in a day. And I really like the fabric is working up pretty nice. Alright, we're at the stitch before the stitch marker, so we're going to put our double increase. Yeah, alright, so 2 single crochets and 2 single crochets in the next one. Put our stitch marker back. Now, write down 10 because that was row 10. This will be the last row before the decrease if you're doing an A cup. That's definitely his bed. And that's Bentley licking himself. I'm sure you have heard the wind chime in the background. It's just the way of my life, people. It's just the way of my life. Don't live in a sound studio. Alright, so because we are on row 11, we just crochet, whoops. Let's see, was it before the stitch marker? Yes. So 1 single crochet before the stitch marker. No, are we on row 7 or 8? Or 6 or 7? 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. So we're on 7. Yeah, we work till we get to the stitch marker and then put our increase of 2 single crochet where the stitch marker was. Put the stitch marker back. Come on. Oh, dang it. My stitch slipped out. And single crochet till we reach the stitch marker. Round and round the mulberry bush. Alright, now we got to the stitch marker. We're going to put our increase. Two single crochets. You know, I think for this tutorial we're going to make an A-cup because it's the same pattern. You're just continuing around for more rows for the bigger sizes. That way we're not here for longer. You guys get the idea. You can follow the pattern. I already gave you the numbers. God, these reading glasses are terrible. I'm going to have to go find my regular ones. They're in the other room. Alright. This is the last stitch of the front. Alright, so this is an A cup. That's what that looks like. It seems so small to me. I feel like I did it wrong, but it's working up the correct way. Alright, now it says, work evenly 2 rounds through the back loop only. And what that means is we're going to just go in the round. We're not doing any increases, but you can leave your stitch markers where they're at. And we're going to go on the back loop only. So, if you look at the top of your stitch, you're going to only go into that back part of the stitch right here. Okay? So, we lost a stitch marker. Stitch marker down. See how there's a V here? We go on the back loop. Single crochet for 2 rounds. We're going to do this. Just single crochet all the way around. And the reason Knitted Knockers picked specific yarn, according to their website, the reason they only have a list of 30 yarns is because they've tested these yarns and they have determined that these specific yarns meet the criteria that they're soft, that they're breathable, that they're washable, that they don't get stiffer or heavier when they're washed. They have excluded Hobby Lobby I Love This Cotton entirely because they said that it's too heavy and it gets stiffer when washed. So if you think I Love This Cotton is a good yarn, it's not for them. They said absolutely not, which also excludes a lot of other cottons that I thought would have been a good pick, but I haven't tested them for boobs, so I have to just go by their word. According to their list, they only have 1 Premier Yarns listed, but coming from Premier Yarns directly, Premier Yarns said that they have 2 yarns actually that is approved, and they have a coupon code, and one of them is the Afternoon Cotton, and the other one is, I think, Bamboo Fair. But on their list it says Cotton Fair is listed. So if you have any of those, and if you don't have any of those, like I said, they have a whole list. But Premier Yarns has a code called, and it's Knitted Knockers, all one word is the coupon code. And I think you say 15% off on the Afternoon Cotton and the Bamboo Fair. The Bamboo, I have Bamboo Fair. I have it in bright colors though. And I have the Afternoon Cotton. So they offer you 15% off, but then they also donate 10% back of sales of those yarns to Knitted Knockers for the month of October, which I think is pretty cool. So those are some options. I will link those 2 yarns below, and I will put the coupon code below. Even though that's not currently the yarn I am using today. I am using Lion Brand. What is this? Coboo. I also have Lion Brand Truboo, which is also a yarn you could use. It is approved by them. I will link those yarns below as well. But there's 30 yarns you can choose from. They're all available online pretty much. And if they're not available online, some of these yarns can be found in like craft stores. Some of the yarns can be found at like big box stores like Walmart. And some of the yarns are only available in local yarn shops. So remember, for this row, for an A cup, we're just doing back loop only, single crochets in the round. And then we're going to do one more row where we're doing the same thing. They also said on the website, because I've been doing a lot of research this week, they said that if you're going to do the front cup like a neutral color, like, you know, skin tone or something, that you can put the color on the back part of the cup where you do the decreases. It just has to be the same soft yarn. Oh no, that stitch marker. That's the beginning of the row right there. We're going up and around. Put our stitch marker back in. Going up and around, and we're still doing back loop only. Not increasing, we're not decreasing. And then I have to read the pattern again when we're done with this row, because I have no idea what we're doing next. I haven't gotten this far yet. Anyone who is participating in this, like I said, I would love to hear comments. You can comment in the video below the name of someone you're honoring or making these for. You don't have to go into personal details, because, you know, not everybody wants their business on the internet. You just put their name and say in honor of, or in memory of, or something like that. And then I also want to see your little knotters. Woo! My brain's going too fast for my mouth. Your knockers. I want to see your knockers in the Facebook group if you can. Spread the word about these things. Like, let's make some knockers. And this is not my pattern. This is just a tutorial based off of the pattern that's on their website already. And we have one more boob tutorial coming up, and it's going to be a booby pillow. That is just for fun. It's just for funsies. It will look nothing like these. It will look more cartoony. I still have to go buy the yarn for that. I was thinking about doing a green yarn and doing 3 boobs, like the lady from, I think it was Total Recall. The lady had green boobs and there were 3 of them. I know there's a couple of movies like that, but I think Total Recall is the one I'm thinking of. Like, how funny that would be to have alien boobs. I'm trying to put that purple stitch marker back in here where it belongs, since it fell out. It goes somewhere right there. Back loop only. I wonder what the idea behind putting the back loop only is for these 2 rows. Is it to cause a division between the front and the back? I just don't know. My wind chime is serenading us all. I used to get so many complaints about the wind chime until I started telling everybody, like, that was gifted to me from Grandma and Grandpa, and it will always be there to deal with it. People were just like, oh, that is so distracting. I think it's beautiful. I love listening to it. It's way louder if I actually open the window, but the window's closed. Alright. I think I did that right. I'm gonna laugh if I did. No, 1, 2. I thought I did 3 rows of, because, yeah, I did not. We're just gonna back loop. You can hear the garbage man outside. He's fairly loud. Till we get to the stitch marker. And back loop it there. And place the stitch marker. Alright, let's see what's next. Now we're going to start the back row. So you could change colors here if you wanted to. I don't know. Does that look right? Alright. Let's see. single crochet 2 together, single crochet to 1 single crochet before the stitch marker, single crochet 2 together 3 times. Alright, repeat round 1 until you have 15 stitches left. So what we're going to do is every time we reach a point where there's a stitch marker, we're going to put 2 single crochets together. Okay, it's just how we're going to do it. So you just work in the round, single crochet, single crochet, so where it says 3 times, that means you will have 3 decreases. So basically we're reverse engineering the front part. So we did the increases at the 3 points, and now we're going to do the decreases at the 3 points. But the back should probably be flatter than the front because it just should. Because we're equally decreasing across all of the rows. So it should be flatter than the front. Because the whole point of the reason that they do the row with 2 increases, like when you go row 6 has 2 increases, row 7 has 1 increase, 2, 1. It's to create the gentle like slope. That's why they do that. In case you didn't know. And why am I back loop only in? I'm doing back loop only still. We're doing back to regular old crochet. I don't know why I did back loop only. Single crochet. Not back loop only, just single crochet. Yeah. That's what I get for not turning my ringer off. He has called me like 3 times already this morning. Alright, so we got to the stitch marker, so what we're going to do is pull up a loop in that stitch, or the stitch before the stitch marker. Pull up a stitch where the stitch marker was at, and then go through both of those. That is a double crochet, or not double crochet. That's a crochet, 2 single crochets together to decrease. Wow. I haven't eaten or drank or taken my medicine yet, so my brain is like scrambling information. I do apologize. I'm trying to squeeze us in when I have time. Alright, single crochet all the way across till we get to the stitch marker again. Oops. Without splitting it up too much. Alright, we are at the stitch before the stitch marker. I'm going to single crochet those 2 together, pull up a loop in that stitch, pull up a loop in the next stitch, pull off both, place your stitch marker, single crochet around. This is the easiest part because those stitch markers are really going to help us and we don't have to actually count. Just remember when you see that stitch marker, just decrease. We are like young volcanoes. Stitch before the stitch marker. Whoop. Do a decrease. Pull up a loop, and that's the stitch before the stitch marker. Pull up the loop in the stitch marker. Pull off both. Put your stitch marker in that stitch. Crochet around. Now, if you're really good at stitch recognition, like I personally don't need the stitch markers any longer. I could clip them on where they're at right now and just continue on down the row. And I will know by the look of that funky stitch that I need to decrease at that funky stitch. And if you need to keep moving those every row, you just keep moving them. So for me, I know that if I put it through the front of that stitch like that, okay, I know that when I get to that point, I need to look for the funny stitch and do a decrease. In the stitch before that stitch and that stitch. Pull up a loop, pull up a loop, pull off two. Continue around. And that's what I'm going to do for the next two stitch markers. And I'm just going to put them on the front of the material, the fabric, so that I know about where I need to pay attention. Because I'm tired of moving them. See how the front of that stitch has like that line right there? We know that that's the decrease. Clip it on. And that you'll also see the hole here will be bigger and less uniform than the other stitches around the row. And so we know that we need to do this one and this one as a decrease. Although it doesn't matter if you do the stitch before or the stitch after, it doesn't really matter. As long as you do 3 decreases for every row to keep that shape, it will be fine. I used to at some point have pink and yellow of this yarn, and I honestly think it got moved into mystery boxes because it's not at all in my room. So whoever got the pink and the yellow Coboo from the mystery boxes, you already have the yarn. Go make some knitted knockers. Pull my stitch marker off. Put it in that front stitch right here. Boop. Do our decrease. Go about our day. Single crochet in the round. Now we're going to continue this until we only have 15 stitches left. At some point before we reach the 15 stitches though, I am going to stuff it because I feel like 15 stitches is a really small space for my fingers to fit into. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. So see how my stitch marker's right there? I know that that's coming up. I need to pay attention. And the decrease is here. And as you can hear, the Velociraptor is awake. I don't know why he does it every morning, like, ah. Or he has this noise where he goes, he, and it reminds me of the scene from Forrest Gump when the mom is having a talk with the principal. Every time, he does it. I don't know why he does. He's never seen Forrest Gump. It's just one of those things where it's called a stim, so he's stimulating his brain. He does it all the time. He's so loud. And he's coming down the stairs, so I'm probably going to have to pause. Alright. Sounds like Juju's up too. We reached the stitch marker stitch, so we got to decrease that. Yeah, it's definitely Oreo. She came looking for me. Where's Mommy? Now Scarlet came to the door. case you don't know, you're new here. Those are my dogs, Bentley, Scarlet, and Oreo. And we're approaching the stitch marker again, so we gotta look for where we need to do our decrease. Just here and here. Boop and a boop. I don't know how long we've been sitting here. I really don't know how long this tutorial is gonna be. I think if you get going and you're not looking at the tutorial, you're not looking at the pattern, I think the first one we're making is going to definitely be a practice, because just in case there's mistakes. I always make one first, because the first one's always the worst. And then once you get going and you understand what you're supposed to be doing, you can crank these out in half an hour, 45 minutes. If you're a slower crocheter, maybe an hour, hour and a half, that's fine too. You can make a couple every day. Or you can just make one and donate it. That is fine too. Decrease. It's funny because it doesn't seem like it's actually going in at all, but the rows in between the decreases is like working faster, so I know that I'm decreasing. My brain is like, it looks like it's, I was gonna say it looks like a cup, but it kinda is a cup. But I can tell because I'm going faster between the decreases, I can tell that there's less stitches building up. Oh, that's supposed to be a decrease. Decrease. Alright, so I had to take a break for a minute to deal with some things around the house. I did a couple rows before I turned the camera back on. This is about where I'm at right now. This is the inside. It is very gradually getting smaller. This is the front side. This is the back side. I'm going to keep going. I also grabbed my fluff and my tape measure so that we can make sure that we have a true 8 cup according to their memberships. Brain. Measurements according to their measurement. And put my glasses back on so that I can see. Now, because they want us to do this until we have 15 stitches left, you just need to make sure that you have 5 stitches left in between each one of those decreases. So you should have 3 sides, each with 5 stitches on it when we're done. Now I'm going to show you how to, they want you to weave the yarn in, but they do not want you to close it up. That way that the owner of the knocker can adjust, take fluff out if they want, make it a little softer or flatter, or add more. But what we're going to do is we're going to fill it until we feel like it can't be filled anymore, so that they have enough fluff. The recipient of the knocker has enough fluff. You can donate these to Knitted Knockers directly. You can just send them to them. Put a little card in there what kind of yarn you use so they make sure that it's the right kind of yarn and what size the cup is supposed to be. All that information is on their website. I will link everything below. I'll link as much information as I can below so that you don't have to go searching for it. There are 2 downloadable links, particularly if you click those you will download A, the pattern for this, the written pattern that we're following off of, and B, the approved yarns list. And it has basically all the information on there that you need. But you could also you could call your local hospital and see, not your local hospital, but like local breast cancer center, and see if they accept the knitted knockers there. You can also pass these to someone you know who might need them. Because I know I had at least one comment of someone saying that their sister or their cousin or somebody needed these, and you were very excited to make her some. I may actually also attempt to knit one, just for the heck of it, but that will not be a tutorial. Alright, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm on the 9th row of decreases. Taking a drink because my throat feels grody. I'm going to start stuffing this. I have way more stuff than I actually need. But I just like to pull it apart a little bit just to fluff it up. And then squeeze it into a real tight ball. And stuff it in there. Because like I said, if anything, I would rather these be overstuffed than understuffed. And push it out towards the corners. Alright. And just get a little more. Fluff it first. Make sure there's no hard bits in there. And then do with not pasta dough. Well, yeah, pasta, like pizza dough or something. Just roll it around on itself so that it's makes a ball. Stuff it in there and push it out towards the corners. See, that's looking way better. It's supposed to be 4.5 inches when stuffed all the way. And right now we're at about 4 inches. So I think we're going to have to put more stuffing in it, or else it's just going to be like a double, or yeah, double A. Is double A smaller than A? I'm also crocheting kind of on the tight side, so I'm going to do a couple more rows, and I'm going to add way more fluff. But it's easier to get my fingers in there when the hole is a little bit bigger. Oops. It's supposed to decrease there. I was supposed to decrease there. Ooh, I'm supposed to decrease there too. See, that's the downside of not moving your stitch markers up. Because we're decreasing the stitch before and the decrease stitch, so instead of this decrease line going straight up, it's going this way, which is normal. And because I'm not seeing the stitch marker anymore, I have to really pay attention to where my decrease is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right now I have 9 stitches in between the decreases. So I only have a couple more rows. I'm wondering if these would work. You guys will have to let me know, because I'm not going to try it, but you'll have to let me know if these would work as like a enhancer for women with smaller boobs. If this would work for that. But I just don't know. I mean, I know it's meant to replace when a woman has had a mastectomy, but I'm just wondering if it would enhance, you know, less endowed ladies. Or if you'd have to make it a different shape, like the cutlets, those rubber things that I've never used. Not saying that anybody needs those enhancements, but I know that some women feel that they do. Yeah, those decreases are coming closer and closer together. 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. Alright, so now there's 6 between the two, so I only have 2 more rows, I think. Three, 4. That was 4 between the two, which means my messed up somewhere. It doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, I really messed up somewhere. Those are not even at all, but it's got the right shape. So how many stitches do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I'm going to add some more stuffing to that. And now I'm just putting it in loosely and pushing it out towards the edges. I'm just pushing it out towards the edges. And like I said, it's better to overstuff these than to understuff them, so that the recipient can take some of the stuffing out if they want it to be less. And I'm just really pushing it out towards the edges. And you want, when you fill the boob, you want it to be smooth. You don't want there to be like pockets of hard and pockets of soft. So like stuff it. Stuff it like you stuff your belly on Thanksgiving. I still have, it looks full, but I still have plenty of room in there for stuff. Just look at it, make sure it's kind of symmetrical. Give it a mash if you need to. I'm going to measure it again, because it says fully stuffed. It should be 4.5 inches. That's the wrong side. Yeah, I think we've made it. So that's 1, maybe. No. It's close. I don't know if it's 4.5, but it's close. I really didn't think all of that stuffing would fit in here. And it sure did. And actually, I could probably fit some more in there because there's like a hole right there. We can do our, that actually looks really nice, doesn't it? Looks like a boob. Oh, I did a good job for my first try. Alright. Do some more decreases. Even though my edges on the back are miscalculated. We're going to pretend we didn't see me count off, count be so off. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is awesome when you're living a dream. Or when you crochet in boobs. I may have to go out to the garage and get more fluff though. It definitely feels like it's concave in the middle there. Now, unlike me, you should have an even spaces between your decreases. I screwed up somewhere because I wasn't counting and I got 100 distractions going on, but it still is, I mean, it still looks fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just count my stitches. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That was the last row. Put our decrease in. I'm going to put one more single crochet on the side of that just to hold it. And then I'm going to slip stitch it. Alright, now we're going to leave a long tail. Okay, like 8 inches or so, 10 inches. I'm not counting, but just leave a long tail. Okay, now we are going to slip stitch into the next stitch again, just to make sure everything's in place. Pull it through to join. Now we need a needle. Let's see if I can find a good one. This gold one will work. Like I said, we gotta make sure that that's stuffed all the way, so I'm probably gonna add some more stuffing in there. We're gonna remove our stitch markers. Stuff it till you can't stuff it anymore, which I'm gonna have to do off camera. You don't need to see. It just needs to be like, see, there's a hole there. We don't want that. Put your thread on your needle. Okay. And like I said, we're not closing this off. We're leaving this open in case they need to adjust it, okay? You're going to go into the next hole, like facing down, and come up through the next hole. Go in the next hole, up through the next hole. Keep it right at the surface up here. In and up. Pull it through. Okay? And we'll go in and up. Oop. In and up. In and up. Pull it through. And then in and up one more time, because we're back at the beginning of the row. Now what this is going to do is it's going to give them a string to pull it closed, to close it. But we're not going to weave in the ends because we also want them to be able to open it and get in there and like dig out the extra fluff that they need in case they need it, right? in case they don't want it this firm and this like poking out. Don't be afraid to massage it and make it like look nice and smooth everywhere. Look at that, we made a whole boob. This is the front. This is the back. See, my decreases are way more obvious than my increases are. Like my increases, you can barely see that they're right here. Right there. So, there we have one A-cup boob. And now that it's all stuffed, it looks more like an A-cup. But yeah, we did it. Good job, guys. Alright guys, so we made our little boobs. I would like to see your boobs if you've made some little I keep saying knitted knockers because it's the company, but if you made any crocheted knockers, I would like to see them in the Facebook group if you can. You could also email them to me. And I would like to know below, are you making them in honor of someone? Are you making them in memory of someone? Are you hand delivering them? Are you actually donating them to Knitted Knockers? I would like to know all that information. If you want to share it, of course. And thank you so much for making these with me. I think it's a worthy cause. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's just ironic that I happen to have my mammogram in October. I think it's something very important. Like, it's a test and it's a pain, and not everybody women don't like doing the mammograms. We just don't. But that short amount of pain can prevent a lot more serious pain, a lot more trauma to your body, so it is important to do that. And with that, I will step off my soapbox and thank you so much for joining me for this tutorial. I will see you in the next one.